Oh, Colorado. We are back broadcasting from the Box State. Welcome to Inside Colorado Basketball presented by Uprise Hoops. This is a championship episode, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, Colorado's grassroots amateur high school basketball just wrapped up the season for the girls and the boys all the way 1 through 6A. And guess what? Inside Colorado Basketball, ICB, we are here for it, family. And we got a great episode lined up for you. If this is your first time, welcome to the show. I am your host, the mouth of the South, B. Jones, the OG, all things Louisiana. And I'm rocking alongside of my brother from another mother. That's right. My partner in crime, the head coach, KT. And together, we are Sports Life Talk. Y'all hit us up. Y'all follow us at Sports Life Talk. We do an all right job at this, you know what I'm saying? We do an all right job bringing exposure to the game of basketball. Kevin, how you feeling today, man?
Feeling great, B. Jones. I know we're in Texas, but, you know, you're going to hear me say our girls state champions because, you know, Colorado is now our second home.
Colorado is our second home, Kevin, and I couldn't be more delighted. I couldn't be more excited about that. I went through a journey, and we're gonna talk a little bit about that journey on this episode. But I don't know, Kevin. We got a pretty long one in front of us, so we're gonna get this thing cracking. But before we do, we need everybody out there. Come on, it's that Mamba moment. Take that right hand, reach over your left shoulder, grab that seatbelt, and let's buckle up for an explosive episode. And I want to send a special shout out to our sponsors. That's right, our sponsors, Uprise Hoops. Uprise is out there helping you, the player, the person, the man, the woman that wants to be amazing. They're helping you to take your game to that next level. That's right. Reach out to them at uprisehoops.com. And listen, they're all about rising to that next level. Hit them up. They get you involved in recruiting events, showcases, consultation. They are doing it all and helping youngsters take their game to that next level. Hashtag rise to the next level. Hit them up. uprisehoops.com. Kevin, you like Uprise. You Uprise fam, ain't you? I mean, you down with them, huh?
Yes. Why would not be down with him? Is that a trick question?
Oh no, man! I just wanted to get that excitement bubbling up out of here because I'm like so excited. All right, y'all, let's jump right into this episode. We're going to start tonight's conversation talking about the boys' side of the basketball, and we couldn't end the playoff spectacular run any other way, any better way than bringing back our guy from Basketball Colorado, Matt Langley. Inside Colorado basketball family, welcome back to the stage. Y'all know him. This is his third time joining along with us, and we are coming to the conclusion of playoff season. As a matter of fact, champions have been crowned, and we got a champion, in my opinion, a champion of the media, sitting sideline. Let's go, Colorado. One of your very own Basketball Colorados, Matt Langley. Y'all can follow this guy at bball_CO for all the dope content on high school basketball, the prep scene out there in the state of Colorado. Matt, welcome back to the show, man. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm recuperating. I was telling you guys a little bit earlier. It was a fun, long, exciting, everything you could imagine from Wednesday to Saturday night. It was great down at the Denver Coliseum, and got to see 4A through 6A in finals, semifinals, grade 8 for 4A. It was a blast. It was a really good time.
Well, we're going to jump right on into here, some championship basketball. But before we do that, you know, we have not we haven't had the bandwidth and the content to really cover the small schools. But you know what? Rick Fly said it, that, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And they are now officially the man in the room. There could be only one. So shout out to our 1A champions, the McClave Cardinals, our 2A state champions, Simla Cubs, and then 3A state champions, Res Christian. And finally, we head over to Kent, Denver for our 4A state champions. I don't know if you got the opportunity to see all of those games, Matt, but out of those champions, did anyone step out or do anything impressive other than taking care of business on Saturday?
Well, here's the thing, and this kid's going to be a legend for time to come. And I'm going to make sure I get his name right. So I'm going to pull it up real quick. I'm pretty sure it's Alex Tierney of Kent Denver. He played on a torn ACL since like the middle of February.
What?
And not just like, hey, coach, I'm suiting up. He played. He hit big shots in the championship game early. They're playing Colorado Academy. Colorado Academy has the all-name team, guys. You would love this. We got a guy named Clyde Love. We got another guy named River Ham. This dude, and both of those kids can hoop. They can shoot it. It was a lot of fun to watch those guys, but the Tierney kid, he tore his ACL. He's like, I'm playing, coach. Coach lets him play. He's got it braced up. He plays. He goes out in the first quarter, hits a big three. It wasn't the typical Kent game in a sense of like Kent runs. They just go, run, shoot. They don't really care. They're going to press. Not quite Grinnell, but, they're going to get up a lot of shots. You saw a lot of maturity in that game from them. Just kind of like, look, we ran, like they had like 85 in the game, in the semifinal game. And you kind of like, look, guys, we could probably do it again. It'd be really ugly. So let's just kind of slow it down a bit, get 75, and, go ahead and win this. And that's what they ended up doing. But Kent Denver was a lot of fun to watch. Colorado Academy was too. But that kid Tierney with the torn ACL, that's the dude.
Is Langley basketball? You giving him the game ball, coach?
I think you got to.
How would you feel going out there getting busted by a guy that had a torn ACL?
I wouldn't tell nobody. I wouldn't tell anybody. Real quick, Kent Denver, we know they're, of course, a Denver school. Where's Res Christian, Simla, and McClave? Are they all Denver-based schools?
No.
Do we get some parity throughout the state?
Simla and McClave, I believe, are out like Eastern Plains schools. Don't quote me on that. I know they're not in Denver. And then Res Christian is up in the Windsor, Fort Collins area. So they're about, 45 miles away, up there by UNC Greeley and CSU Rams. They're going to the tournament. We're super excited about that. UNC's going to the NIT. We got a lot. Colorado's going to a Vegas tournament now. We just found that out today. We didn't even know it existed.
It was one of those things that popped up. Extra money. What y'all gonna do with that $5 million over there? Let's do another tournament.
Right? So there's a lot of good basketball. Super hyped up about it, and the high school stuff was really great to see. And we got a lot of connections with former high school guys here from the state at all those schools, and just couldn't be any more happy for those guys. A lot of those dudes I saw play as they were freshmen, or maybe even accidentally as an 8th grader. Because I don't watch middle school basketball. I just don't do it. Not good for business. So I'll watch. I've seen some of those guys. Basically since they were freshmen in high school, and 8-9 years later, it's a lot of fun to see their success. But back to the high school stuff. Res was awesome. They were awesome all year. I think they finished the season undefeated. Ty Yoder, we kind of mentioned him before. The Crutcher kid is one of the best glue guys in anywhere in the state. Just gets a lot of done. We'll see them at the D2 level next year, I'm sure. So shout out.
Dope, though. Shout out to Red, shout out to Simla, shout out to McClave, and shout out to Ken Denver. You guys went out there, took care of business. Congratulations to those programs on winning the 2025 state championship. Welcome to Inside Colorado Basketball, presented by Uprise Hoops. Let's go. It's time to jump right on in. And the first thing we're going to talk about is the 5A champions. Put a smile on your face. That's right. That's right, my guy. Matt Smiley took care of business alongside of the Windsor Wizards. They put some of them Harry Potter spells on Green Mountain and got it done. And I'm gonna be honest, you came on this show, Matt. You said, "Hey, y'all, Green Mountain ain't who y'all think they are. They got a kid that came back. He a super uber athlete. And just like you predicted 3 weeks ago, Green Mountain struck a match and they started whipping heads and made it all the way to the championship game. So I know it had to be a very intense and surreal moment in the stadium. But walk us through the Class 5A state championship. How do we get to the point where one of the ICB legends, Matt Smiley himself, will hoist the crown?
You know, the thing about this game was I was expecting a couple of other, put it this way, I expected Madden to have a great game. Like I was just like, Madden's gonna play. It's not a question. But the other question was, is the Lunsford kid gonna? I don't want to say show up. Is he gonna? Because playing on back-to-back nights, our 5A, they played back-to-back nights, and they had a big game against Falcon the night before. A lot of energy spent. And then, and granted, with Windsor, they had to beat Mesa Ridge to get there, and Bryce Reel. That was just a whole nother thing in itself because, they hand them their second loss of the year. But really, the big thing was for Windsor, especially early in the game, was the play of John Backhouse. This kid played like a senior that knew what the mission was. He's like, I have to do what I need to do to win. If that means I'm hitting threes, I'm going to make my threes tonight. If I need to go get big rebounds, I'm going to go get big rebounds tonight. If I just need to make a play, I'm going to make a play because Madden, he heated up in the second half. But they needed something to kind of keep it going against Green Mountain, and Backhouse brought that. If he doesn't play like that in the first half, it may not be a great, it may be another runner-up for Madden, and the curse would continue because I don't know if you guys have heard about the curse. The curse is like 100, it's almost as bad as like the Chicago Cubs curse back in the day. It's been like 100 and something years since Windsor's even been or has won the state title. So it was like 1921 or 1922 when the last time they won a state title in basketball, boys basketball. So they finally keep saying that we broke the curse. I'm like, you're Wizards. You should have been able to break it a long time ago, right? But
now that
I don't know.
That was podcast gold, man, Langley. I like that. You should have been broke the curse. You a wizard. So, what was the emotion in the stadium after breaking such an emotion? Such a long withstanding curse. How big was this to the Windsor community?
You could just tell that it was important. You could tell even on the. Well, let's talk real quick about the Green Mountain side because the Green Mountain side. A lot of metro area schools don't get this like old school feel about them. They don't really, it's kind of like our age now where we don't really connect to our history, don't connect to our past and that kind of thing. Green Mountain, their head coach played at Green Mountain. He was on the last state championship team. They brought back the warm-up pants, these incredible looking yellow, white, and black striped warm-up pants, and the team wore those and warm-ups, and they had a huge connection. I was walking around the stadium earlier, and there were guys that brought out the old letter jackets. They hadn't worn those things in 15 to 25 years.
Nice and snug.
Nice and snug. They were faded. They still had some dust on them. Like it meant a lot to those Green Mountain people that game. You could tell. You could tell that the community of Green Mountain was invested. We don't get a whole lot of that around here anymore, and that they need a shout out for because that was special. That was fun to see. Windsor is kind of like the same thing. You had a lot of parents up there. Saw a lot of tears, a lot of happiness, a lot of a lot of relief, just like a joy of relief of just like, and to see, and Madden's one of these kids that I've followed again since they were freshmen, and you see them as growing up and taking these steps as juniors and seniors. And even though I know the Smileys in a professional capacity, I know them a little bit in a personal capacity just because of how we talk and so on, and that kind of thing. And it's kind of like, man, it's just so happy to see those kids be successful and the people that you're connected to be successful. So it was great. Madden heated up in that second half and really kind of pushed them to that victory. I was looking up some stuff, and I really thought free throws might come back and get them because they weren't shooting great free throw percentage. And same thing in the 6A game, which we'll talk about in a minute. But it was just really one of those things of, man, you're just so happy and for those people, and you felt so bad for the Green Mountain people because they were so invested. A kid from Green Mountain, Sam Minelands, this kid's a sophomore, guys. We'll be talking about him. If we're still doing this show in 2 more years, we're going to be talking about this kid because he was lights out. 4 of 4 from 3, 16 points. I mean, this kid was just unbelievable. We talked about, Madden heated up. He had, I think he ended up with he had a double-double, 11 rebounds, 25 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists. I mean, the kid really played well, especially in the second half. And it was really kind of the difference in that final quarter because Green Mountain, they figured it out. Green Mountain figured out the Wizards. In the third quarter, we're going to zone them. We're going to sit there in this 2-3 zone. They don't know what to do. And the Wizards were flabbergasted. They didn't know what to do. They're like, wait, we're up 13. They put a zone on us? What? This doesn't make any sense. You're supposed to be pressing us. You got to get back in the game. And really, Green Mountain limited it. They limited them to one point from 5 minutes on in the third quarter. 1 point, and that was a Smiley free throw. Everything else, one and done. And they just they had a 9-point run. They got back in the game, and it was exciting. And then all of a sudden, it was just like, no, Madden's going to start doing stuff, and got them up to a 10-point lead. And that's pretty much how that's how it ended. And there's a couple moments there late where it's like, well, if they don't come through, they don't hit this big shot. Backhouse shows up again with a big layup, and it kind of really sealed the thing for Windsor. It was a great game. It was a lot of fun.
Hey, Matt said, Levioso. And Matt took over that thing. Let's go. All right, real quick, Matt Langley. And I know you're not supposed to do this. I know this is taboo to talk about teams that weren't there, but I think we saw something that was kind of unprecedented where you had a team like Lutheran and you talked about how Mesa Ridge, how good these teams were in the regular season and how they compiled a body of work that was super impressive. And then ultimately they kind of fade at the end. One thing, the ball don't bounce their way. The momentum is just not their night and they get sent home. Would you consider these some of the best regular season teams that you've seen throughout the state that to not advance to the championship, but not to hoist the championship? We know 6A was the Game of Thrones.
Right.
We know the 6A was the Game of Thrones, but
right.
But did 5A just kind of buck the tradition? I mean, did the wheels fall off of this thing?
No, not at all. Not at all. I think a little bit had to do with the seeding process, just in the sense of we just relied on computers and a formula, and this is how it fell out. I mean, because if it's me, I'm not having Mesa. Like I would have, I wouldn't have Mesa Ridge and Windsor on the same side of the bracket, right? They're going to meet. They're going to meet in the finals. If I'm going to have Lutheran, and maybe they did that with Lutheran and Mesa Ridge and put them on the separate side and said, hey, whatever. But or the computer did. And people like, we got to bring. And we'll kind of go back to the college bit for a second. They always, here they're saying, oh, we need to have a human element for our tournament. And I'm like, I've been in places, been in situations. I don't trust humans. Well, look at what happened to West Virginia yesterday. You don't trust humans because UNC, North Carolina gets in being 1-12 the last 13 games.
And they had no major wins. They put them in on their name.
West Virginia went to Lawrence and won. Yes. Like, you don't do that. Well, I guess you can do that now, but typically in years past, you don't do that, right? So the idea that I want to, you guys are wanting me to have, get on the bandwagon of having a selection committee again and have humans involved. Just look at what happened yesterday, West Virginia. That's why you know what? If someone's smart enough to deal with the computer calculations and the math, you'd be surprised how many 6A coaches are math teachers, like high-level math teachers at that too. And you're just like, oh, so you understand how to manipulate the back in my day, we're just social studies teachers, PE teachers, right? We're not teaching AP calculus. That's not no. But all the more power to you. You understand how to manipulate the rankings and the computer formulas and all that, and you know how to do it. More power to you. But I'd rather deal with something like that than having some crusty old dude in a committee somewhere going, I don't like that guy. It's, we'll give them the 7 seed.
You crazy, man. Well, congratulations again to Windsor Wizards. Those guys, man, I don't know. I don't know why that makes me feel a little bit special. I feel all warm.
They're on your show. You got the
I know.
I'll send you a link to Madden. Hey, Madden and Steve, Coach Smiley there, they have gotten so much better because of us. And this is what I want to say. And I hope they see this because they were on my podcast. Then they go on your podcast. And you're like, hey, awesome. That's great. Congratulations. They keep getting better and better. They're on like this 5-minute special here on a local TV station here in Denver. They look like pros now. And you know why? It's because of us.
We would practice.
Because of us. Coach, it's because of us. It's because we
we need to get a ring too, is what you're saying, Matt.
Or at least a shirt.
A T-shirt, a 2025 championship T-shirt, huh?
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
So I'll send you guys that link later. But it was I'm sitting there going like, they look really polished. You had something to do with that.
Let's jump over to the Game of Thrones, aka 6-8. I think Disney would buy the rights to the Colorado 2025 6-8 tournament. This thing was just sheer madness. The storylines were all over the place. You got the undefeated number 1 team. You got the defending champions with the best player in the state. You got these brothers down here at the Bricada brothers who are playing amazing. I mean, I could go on and list 5 or 6 different schools that we all had vested and rooting interest in. Nobody knew how it was going to turn up. We literally crossed our fingers and we're praying and hoping that we got the matchups, and it looks like it lived up to everything we absolutely expected. Now, I know we're talking about the championship games, but I got to go back to the semis with this one. We got to go back to the Final Four, and that took place on that Thursday night. Of course, we saw Rangeview versus Valor. This was probably one of the most marquee matchups in the probably of the whole season because of the pressure, the intensity, the magnification that was onto this game. What was it like in that gym? What did you see go down on Thursday night that led Valor Christian to being propelled into the championship game?
Cold sheer.
Cold world.
I mean, well, one, I think, and this is a side thing again. I hate going on these things, but the Coliseum can be a special place when it's full. When you have the right timing of games. A 4:00 game in the afternoon between the number 1 unranked or undefeated team in the state against the best player and his defending champion in the state, taking place at 4:00. Just ain't it, guys. It's just not. That's a 7 or 8:30 tip, and we get that place hopping. And it can hop when the old building can still hop when it wants to. And it's just another aside, kind of back going to those crusty old dudes deciding when, who gets in. It kind of goes back to the timing of everything. And you're just kind of like, come on. There's got to be some way that we can change, times. And I understand, a place like, trying to think, Valor, for example, they had 2 teams in the girls team and the boys team were in the Final Four. Let them play back to back. I get it. I understand it. You don't want your people having to leave for the session and come back and doing all that. Totally understand. Let them play back to back. But let them play back to back at 7:30 and 8:30 or 9 or whenever it is. But it was a special time. There was enough people to make it special, and Rangeview almost had them. Rangeview almost kept that undefeated season going, and had they won and they faced Eagle Crest eventually, had that happen, the Coliseum would have never seen anything like they were about to see that night. Had it happen. Anyway, Cole was just amazing. He had 39 points. It was like at times it was 1-on-5, and the guy was just getting a bucket, hitting a big shot, get a bucket, hit a big shot. And it wasn't like people were running from the ball. It was just like, dude, you're on. You do your thing. We're here to help. You do your thing. Here's the ball. Go help. We'll help. We understand what this is all about. And, I can't remember the exact play, but it was just like a banger three. And you're just like, oh, that's why he's a Gatorade Player of the Year. That one right there. And it just kind of just like, and Rangers was never out of it. The lead never got big. I think the lead may have got to 10 points once by accident, and it was shrunk back up because it was a close game the entire time. And Cole was just special. He was just better than everybody. It's like everyone got a turn with him. You didn't know what to do. And you would think you're going, oh, okay, this one particular player is doing okay. And the next thing you know, bam, bam, bucket. You're like, okay, well, he's doing that to everyone else, so don't feel bad.
Well, as much as we have, I don't want to say disrespected the computers, there's been a high amount of criticism from the Inside Colorado basketball crew here on this platform about these RPIs. And I'm kind of glad you're standing by, Matt, because we've seen over and over again where we can show where they got it wrong, right? This team was ranked too low. This team was ranked too high, yada, 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 this, that, and the third. But Coach Langley, they got it right. Eagle Crest, they sat that dorm. Y'all talk about the Gatorade. Everybody was getting roses. We've been giving everybody roses throughout this whole entire thing. And Eagle Crest just sat there and said, oh, okay. That's y'all like him? Y'all like it? That's your man's? And I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna take care of business and I'm gonna bust his head. Eagle Crest goes out against Mountain Vista, and all of a sudden, everybody like, they number 2. Where did this team come from? And I know I'm what do you call it? Pencil. I'm over exaggerated a little bit. But no, Eagle Crest played the role of the number 2 in the bracket, and they played that role extremely well.
They did, and I'm just gonna say I had them number 1 in my final media ranking. I'm just saying I did, and the only reason I'll go back to a little bit, and I told Coach Palmer this too, and I think I told you guys in the last one. I had Eagle Crest number 1 because their schedule was harder. That was it. And they still fooled me. I had them number 1. I probably would have picked Valor. If you would have pressed me on it, I probably would have picked Valor. But they impressed me to the point of, they fooled me to the point of how well they played as a team in that final. Like in the game against Mountain Vista and in the Valor game, everyone played big in moments. It wasn't just a one. I don't want to call Valor a one-man show because it's the farthest thing from it. Cole was just making shots. That's all it was. But everyone on that Eagle Crest team had a moment. And without that moment, they're not successful. And in the past, some of those players may not have been allowed to have that moment, whether it was team chemistry or something else going on there. That moment may have been passed. Or maybe they weren't ready for that moment, like a maturity, understanding the game. I'll bring this up. Last year, Chris Coleman was a freshman. He's one of the better sophomores in the state this year. He probably put in, someone say you're crazy if you put him top 2 or 3. I put him there because what he did in the state tournament this year. He just had really good, like a mature attitude about it, because earlier he'd been starting and then he gets bumped back. He's the 6th man in the Final Four, and he's mature about it. He doesn't go out and try and do too much. He let the game come to him, and he had a big moment. Garrett Barger, the 6'8" senior, they would just give him the ball and like, oh, we need to give you the ball. You need to go score, and he would go score. Ant Nettles is just waiting for his time. He's like, is it my turn? Okay, my turn. Here's 2 threes, and we change the game in overtime. Back-to-back threes, change the game in overtime against Mountain Vista. Gavin Gallegos, he doesn't, and Noon. So Noon hits the big threes and cashes in the free throws at the end of the Valor game. Gallegos and a couple others, they take turns with Cole throughout that game. They're showing bigger body, and he does even though Cole gets 35. And I go back to, I talked to Coach Platt about how they shut someone down, how they shut down the Burkita brothers. And he made a point that I hadn't really thought of. He's like, they're going to get theirs, but how hard do they have to work to get theirs? He's like, we know, Cole's going to get 20, 25 putting on his jersey. How hard does he have to work to get that 20, 25? And that's what Eagle Crest did, is they just threw bigger body and switch it up. Like sometimes it was Coleman, sometimes it was Gallegos, sometimes it was Ant, sometimes it was, there's a couple of times Barger, they switched some screens, and now here's the 6'8" kid on top of you. So it was really, really a team effort. And it surprised me how well they played as a team, especially when things were starting to get a little crunch time, and the amount of trust that they had in each other, I hadn't seen in a long time, probably since, I mentioned Colby Ross on my tweets before about how him and Cole's games and junior and senior years are very, very similar. But the amount of trust he had in his Eagle Crest teams back then when they won their last state championship was there. And that's what I think a lot of us, even though I had him number one, I didn't really see that trust until it mattered. They're like the X-Men. You got to wait until the big moment, and you get to see Wolverine actually trust everybody, right?
Well,
Isn't that how it works?
Yeah, that's how it works. That's exactly how it works. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm super glad you listed off so many of those impressive young men for Eagle Crest. And I guess it's a spoiler alert at this point. We take a Valor Christian into the championship against the Eagle Crest. And if you watch the highlights, if all you did was watch the highlights, you would have thought it was the Cole Shearer show as he went straight up maniacal and did his thing. But at the end of the day, when all the dust settles, all of those young men that you just previously named, they did what it took, and they brought home the trophy back to Eagle Crest.
And I got to mention a couple other things about this Eagle Crest group. You had Damari Mans Davis, 6, 7, 8. He's coming off the bench. He has a busted up hand and goes out and plays and gets valuable minutes in both the Final Four. In the morning of the Final Four, he busted up his thumb. He probably really shouldn't even been playing, to be honest with you, from what I've heard. Allegedly. I don't know everything because of HIPAA. But he goes out, he wraps it up like, hey, state championship game, I'm going to be there. I'm going to help. I'm on Final Four. I got to be there.
I'm not missing it. I don't blame him. I'm not missing the state championship.
Oh, yeah.
There's no way.
Lakeith York, this guy, any other team in the Centennial or even Continental, he's playing big time, starting major minutes. He's coming off the bench, getting rebounds. The guy had 9 rebounds and 6 points in the state championship game. Lucas Kalimba, smart. A D3 would be smart to get this kid. He was, he'd been the ultimate glue guy all year. 9 points. Big minutes on Cole. Big rebound. We've talked about Nettles. Noon with the free throws. He goes 5 of 6 in the fourth quarter and make sure he seals that thing up because it was close. It's only a 2-point game. Really, probably more of a 4-point game at the end of it. The way that they played together and just let everyone understood their role and played their role. It was really, really impressive to see how all those guys did.
Man, that's awesome.
One other thing I forgot. One of the assistant coaches, and this is kind of like those, those connections that we have, and I'm sure you guys have connections with a lot of people there in Texas, and even you talked about watching Billy Thomas back in the day and that kind of stuff in Louisiana. We get these connections, and you're just like, we talked about that with the Windsor guys, and so on. So one of the assistant coaches at Eagle Crest, his name's Aaron Bokel. He went on to go. He was on the last. He was on the 2017 team that won the state championship. He went on to go have a great RMAC career, D2 career here in the RMAC at Regis, and now he's an assistant coach there. And you're just kind of like, I'm getting to see these kids grow up and go do things, and maybe even some things I wanted to do, right? And you're just kind of like, man, that's so cool. It's just awesome. And you gotta like, a lot of times we don't appreciate each other and their success. And we like, we always want to look for the, it's so much easier to find the negative in things. And it's so much better to sit there and say, man, how's that kid get to go do that? Right? Like, you gotta be kidding me. And, I worked for 25 years, never got a damn state ring, that kind of stuff. You could be really, really angry. Not that I am, because now I get to watch these kids go and live out some dreams and reach goals. And it's so great to go and call them out, even looking at some of our college kids, watching Nick Clifford since his freshman year of high school. And now he was the Mountain West player of the tournament, MVP of the Mountain West tournament. It's just so, it's great, it's awesome. And to see all these other people, and yeah, there's some sadness there when you see kids like Cole not get that second championship. Dude's gonna get the Gatorade Player of the Year again, man. He's gonna be my player. Yeah. I'm gonna let it out now. He's gonna be my Player of the Year again. I mean, duh. I mean, you can't. It's
not even up for debate. It's not even up for debate.
But I told Cole, I was like, it was a hell of a career. It was so much fun to watch. I told Brikita that too. I was like, man, this was awesome. Thank you. I tell these kids thank you because it's fun. It's fun to see them do this. It's fun to see them reach, goals. And, the coaches, there's sometimes you get, and I'm sure you guys have this too. You'll get that text late at night and coach is up pacing and, he's got to get it out somehow. And you're that one, right? He's like, hey, did you see what that ref said? And or what they did? And
I get them all the time. Man. Like,
you're like,
that's a whole other podcast.
It's all right. It's okay. Or like, hey, what did you say? Why did you say that about, whatever. But, seeing guys like Coach Shays you will not find a more class act than Coach Shays. He's so kind and generous with his time. And he's a cool dude. He's got a lot of basketball history in his family, and he's just such a cool dude about it. Seeing Jarris Crabshaw there at Eagle Crest get his, and he took over for a legend at Eagle Crest, and it wasn't easy. It was a little tumultuous there. And even though they were successful, it was still a little tumultuous. And to see him and his son on the bench getting ready to win a state championship, much like the old coach did. I have a picture of the old coach and his son, and he's saying, "We're going to win." And like the son was like sitting, he's like 5. He didn't really know what was going on, but he's sitting there anyway. And seeing those kind of things and seeing that kind of stuff, and my heart hurts for the coaches that don't get that, because I've been there too, and I know what that feels like to go 20 years later. I know exactly why we lost our state championship, and it just kind of sits there, right? And I saw something today that made me sit there and go, you know what? That's right. I need to let that go.
It's time to let it go, Matt. It's time to let it go, man. But you was a dog, though, Matt. I'm talking about you was him, Matt. Nah, I'm just messing with you, brother. Nah, you've been dope. We appreciate all of this amazing playoff coverage. We're joined here by Matt Langley at Basketball Colorado. Inside Colorado Basketball presented by Uprise Hoops. Matt, before we get out of here, we got to have some talk about our sponsors, because
we do.
This has been an amazing journey for KT and I to be a part of this Colorado's rich history of basketball. If you would have told me 6 months ago that y'all was hooping like that, that y'all was doing it like that? I would have told you they can't bust a grape in a fruit fight up there in Colorado. And I would have been sadly spoiled. This has been nothing but an amazing trip. It has been some phenomenal basketball. And we know that Uprise has played a very important role. So my question to you, Matt, now that you've been a part of the show, you had the opportunity to meet the team at Uprise, you see what they're doing. What positive impacts do you think Uprise Hoops has had on the basketball culture out there in Colorado?
It's great that we can work together, because doing what I do and doing what Uprise does, some people would say like, well, you guys compete against each other. I'm like, not really. We kind of work more together. And I remember Brian, when he started talking to me about what he was going to do and so on, I'm like, okay, cool. Go ahead, do it. I'm all for it because one, it's going to make me it's going to make me be better at what I do, right? And we're not pushing each other out of markets or that kind of thing. The more good exposure we can have for Colorado teams and players, the better. I mean, we'll finally get you guys up here next year, I hope, for our state tournament. If we're still doing this, get you guys up here and let you experience the Coliseum and all it brings. The horrible soundtrack that they play instead of having pet bands there. I got to ask you, are you guys pro pet band or would you rather have the PA music? Like someone.
Now, see, we in the state of Texas, we get a little bit of both. So it's very unique. Like if you were to go to a ball game here, they don't have a full band. It's like 12 pieces, maybe 15, 20 pieces. It's very small, but they are doom da 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 doom da da. So you gotta have those hits. And it sounds better with live cymbal and live horn. So but during halftime and some of the other times of the game, you need that get on your feet. You know what I'm saying? You need you need it. No, I got you. Here y'all go, Colorado. Look, they in the comments right now. I'm gonna make up. I'm gonna redeem myself. You ready? Because I know ball. Yeah, that's my dog, boy. Okay, all right. Did I make up for it? Can we get that?
Nobody will forget what you just did, B. Jones. You can't make up. That was pretty bad.
I love it when they play Estefan at the games, man.
I'm just saying, like, that. This is the stuff that I want, right? I want people to come up and see what we do. I want people to come up and see our kids live. I want people to come up and experience all that Colorado high school basketball has to offer. The Eagle Crest Pet Band is the best. They brought 120 pieces and rocked out at the grade 8. It's those times can be special, and I want people to see that. And Uprise is going to help get those special times out more. They got great people working with them. Brian does a great job. He's got great people taking pictures and video, and running the different sites. Running the different social medias, and Brian's been very good to work with in a sense of, we can bounce things off each other. We can call each other on stuff. And again, it's just making Colorado basketball better. It's making me better. So, and then we've got Colorado Live coming up, which they're a huge part of.
Don't spoil it. Hold on, man. That's what I'm about to get into.
Okay.
You know who else is going to make you better? You know who else is going to make you better?
Who?
Sports Life Talk. You know why? Because we will be in the building. So they reached out to us. They said, listen, we know you guys want to come to the state championship game for that one Saturday because we were only available that one Saturday, and they wanted us to have the exposure. So they said, why don't we just do Colorado Live? So I guess we're announcing it. It's official. We will be in the building. And we plan on being there this year ourselves for Colorado Live Scholastic Showcase. That showcases the CHSAA and the CHSCA. We know that you play a major part in that as well. But what have you enjoyed about seeing this event grow over the last, over the last couple of years? And I think this is our second year, right? This is going to be the third year.
This will be the third year.
Yeah, this will be the third year, and we got over 100 teams in the building. What have you enjoyed about this event?
It gets better. and I think it's one of these events that as as uh, as we work together and we get more teams, more quality teams here, we've learned, Brian's learned and the team and I've learned how to make it how to make it better every year. It's going to make it better next year that you guys are there, right? It's going to make it better that we're going to have better teams and we're going to have teams that want to be here as opposed to, hey, we'll go do some college teams team camp. No, you want to be here because we're going to have the teams here that the college coaches are going to come see. You know that they want to see these players. They're going to want to see Rangeview and Marcellus Duncan. They're going to want to see Smoky Hill and Carter Vasquez. They're going to want to see Roston Valley and Caden Burkita. They're going to want to see Green Mountain and Sam Mendez. They're going to want to see these kids. They're going to want to see Rangeview and Archie Witherspoon. So all these kids, these other coaches are going to want to see, and people are going to, and I want to get it back to that time where it's like, I want to play that kid. Back in Florida, we used to have this thing, and I don't even know if they're still around anymore. Breakdown Battle of the Rankings. And Breakdown Hoops was a big deal back in 2005, early 2000s. They were the cream of the crop in Florida. You had Team Nike, Air Nike Team or something like that. That was pretty good. But if you thought you were legit, you played with Team Breakdown. They were black and pink, and they were like the first ones to bring out the pink uniforms for the men. And they would come up to Orlando and they would do the Battle of the Rankings, and kids were calling each other out. They wanted to make sure that they were going against these kids to prove I'm better than that. And that's how I want this to turn out. That's what my next selling point to Brian is. Not necessarily a battle of the rankings, but we want these kids and we want these coaches going, no, I want that team. That's the team I want. I want Rangeview. I want all those young kids at Rangeview. I want to prove I'm that, right? I want to prove I'm that guy. So, I think Uprise can get us there, and I think the Colorado Live and you guys going to be there. I'm sure we're going to hype it up. And say, hey, look,
but man, you asking a lot there. People don't want to see their teams get embarrassed. So, hey, I would love for that to happen, though.
But see, it's that concept of like, I don't want to be embarrassed, dude. Do you want to be embarrassed or you want to get better?
I'm totally with you, but hey, but being embarrassed and going viral, man, that's two different things. I'm just letting you know.
Hey, we got kids putting JV kids on viral out here. It don't matter. So the thing to me is, let's get, the West Texas teams that are really, really good, like the Chapins and the other team from what's that? El Paso. Bring them up here. Let's go. Let's see what you got. Come on. I'm ready. I'm ready. Like right now, I'm ready. I'll take Smoky Hill and play anybody. I'll take Cambridge and play anybody. I know we got a shot.
Speaking of which, you came on this program, and I think our first time meeting you, you were willing to lay down for your state. You were willing to lay down for those guys, but we got TABC here in Texas.
I know.
They got Section 7 in Arizona. How do you think the date change to not be in competition with the Section 7 and with the TABC? Do you think that's going to enhance Colorado Live showcase?
I think so. I think it gives teams another chance. It gives out-of-state teams another chance to come here. It gives our schools, because last Colorado Live, we had like 4 teams go down to Section 7. And they chose that over us. And I'm kind of like, guys. And they're like, Matt. Like, I can't argue against that, right? But at the same time, it's like, well, coaches follow the players. We all know this. So if the coach really wants you, is he going to spend all the time at Arizona watching someone else? He's going to come here. And they're like, well, we don't want to take that chance. I'm like, okay. So I think, I really think this is going to be so good for the Colorado Live, being able to be opposite of those two. We can get more teams from Texas and Oklahoma, get some teams from Arizona up here, maybe, bring some people from Nebraska and Kansas, hey, we'll bring, we already had teams from Wyoming, but I really think it's possible to make it a special event that, people go to Section 7 on that weekend, and then everyone, then Brian, and maybe he asked me, hey, we need to screen these. I've got 500 teams asking to come here. We got to screen it and treat it like Section 7. That's what I hope that turns into.
Well, I'm coming with some Texas teams.
Please,
I might have to bring some attitude and some hubris up there with me to Colorado Live. We're gonna have some nice debates on the sideline, Matt Langley. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate these.
This has been amazing. It's been super fun. I wish those people who are watching this could really understand the evolution of these relationships and what Kevin and I have been doing. I try to express it verbally, but just know that I love it. I mean, I love it all the way down. I'm talking about licking the plate. I love it. That's how much I love this Colorado basketball. I want it all. I want it all, and can't wait to get some more. Thank you again, Matt, for joining us. You the truth, man. We got to be back. We're going to do some live stuff. We're going to do some live content when we get down there. And before I get out, I got to say it one more time. Eagle Crest Raptors, Windsor Wizards, Kent Denver Reds, Christian Simla Cubs, McClave Cardinals. Congratulations. You are all champions. Hey, let's go. Let's go. It's only one person get the ring, but guess what? The nets have been cut. The season is over. It's proven ground. Get back to work. We get to do it all over again this year, and we will see y'all again in 2026 for those playoffs. But that's not the end of Inside Colorado Basketball. We're going to be with y'all until the end of spring. I think we got probably another 7 to 8 episodes. I'm not sure. I'll go back and look at the production calendar, but we still got a lot more content, Matt. Hopefully we'll be able to get you back before we get out there so you can be our tour guide. You can prepare us for some amazing events like Colorado Live, and we'll see y'all on the other side. Matt, you want to? We'll let you do it, man. We end the show with a yeet. Can you give us a yeet bomb right now, Matt? Can you say it? We're going to let you say it by yourself, Matt. Let's go. Yeet. Yeet. Let's go. Matt Langley. Let's go. The champ is here. The champ is here. Oh, my goodness. Kevin, how crunk were you when you found out that Smiley and Windsor, the Wizards, when you found out they won it? I ain't gonna lie. Knowing that we had somebody on our show.
Yeah, and they were able to go and represent and get that title.
There's no better feeling. It's special. Shout out to all 6 champions, though. You guys all did it. But you know what, Kevin? Hold up. Wait a minute. Let me put some bass in it. We got to talk about the girls. Let's get this thing cracking. You know what? We've already went 45 minutes, and we're not trying to keep everybody all night. So, ladies, we might have to do something special for y'all. Because first and foremost, Sports Life Talk loves the girls' basketball game. Y'all know that. Those that's rocking with us. Shout out to all of the amazing female hoopers in the state of Colorado. But Kevin, let's show some love to the state championships. Tell us who all wearing that crown. If you like it, then you better put a ring on it. Who all put a ring on it this past weekend in Colorado, KT?
So what we're gonna do, B, we always start off with the big schools, but for this one, we're going small first. So 1A champion McClave. Not only did they win, but the boys program won as well. So they swept that for 1A.
McClave won. The Cardinals. The Cardinals won both 1A state. I don't know what noise a Cardinal makes. That's the closest I can do.
But that was I didn't see that one coming. And for 2A, B Jones, we got repeat champions in Marino.
Okay, shout out to Marino. All right.
Now 3A, Resurrection Christian won their first girls championship, and they joined the boys, and they swept the 3A championship.
What? Okay, so Res Christian is on a high right now.
They are. So we had 2 of them that basically made history. So 4A belongs to University, who not only is going to get that ring, B Jones, they finished the season undefeated.
Hey, perfection. Nothing like it. It's like brand new smell. Ain't nobody sat on it. It just, you can smell it. That's perfection.
And then 5A, we got the Fighting Chris's. Not really, but Mullen, they won the 5A championship. And if you don't know that, Chris Mullen, one of the greatest shooters in the NBA. In 6A, B. Jones, I think we know the name of this school. Grandview, who has won 3 titles in the last 4 years.
But you know what, Kevin? We're going to shout out to Grandview, but I know Matt, we didn't get a chance to really talk about the women when Matt was on here. And Matt was like, hey, have y'all ever seen Brianna Crittenden? We was like, yeah, we had on the show. And we was like, where have we seen her? He was like, she the real deal. So shout out to Riverdale Ridge.
Yes.
They did that thing, a 16 seed or 14 seed, whatever they was ranked.
Let's be fair. I know we're biased. We don't mind being biased. We don't care. We go with it. But let's give a shout out to everybody who had the chance to go to state.
You know what? This is what I want. I want all y'all young ladies. I don't care if you played on the 2A 32 ranked team. I want all y'all to take y'all heads, look at the screen, bend down like that, and I'm putting the crown on your head. You are all queens. Y'all deserve it. Congratulations on an amazing storyline, an amazing season. You girls were a movie. And we got to do something special for them. We're gonna get some names on this thing. We got a lot of future episodes. Remember, this is just episode 7. And I think I looked at the production schedule. I think we're going to 17 or something like that, right, KT? It's a crazy number of episodes we got. We got some big stuff coming. As you heard, we talked about it with Matt Langley. We got Colorado Live. We coming out there. So it's a lot of stuff coming up. But it's been an amazing tournament, an amazing run. I can't tell you. I'm just gushing all over. I'm about to go put some deodorant on because I'm just perspiring from all this excitement that we've had on this episode. And we hope y'all enjoyed it as well. Be back next week. We coming at y'all. I think we've already lined up some hoopers that they might have just been in this tournament. So y'all be ready. We got some coaches. We got some hoopers. We might have some media personalities. Episode 7 is going to be a click-clack. Bang! It's gonna be an absolute monster. So we'll see y'all next week. Y'all remember, y'all go check out Uprise Hoops. They're the ones that made Inside Colorado basketball. That's tell you right there. Not only do they love basketball in the state of Colorado, but they are not a media. They are not a media outlet. These individuals have created a platform, brought us into the fray, introduced us to the game of Colorado basketball, and done all of this just so they can give exposure to you amazing hoopers. Y'all check them out at uprisehoops.com. Take your game to where you want it to go. Go to that next level. Hit up Uprise Hoops. They specialize. They have a mission to help individuals to rise to that highest level, become who you want to become through recruiting events, through showcases, consultation. They are doing it all, and they are doing it well. Box State, we getting out of here tonight. It's been an amazing. We'll see y'all next week. And you know what? I got a yeet tweet for tonight. Y'all make sure y'all go to Twitter. Y'all yeet tweet us. Who was your MVP for the girls and the boys? Yeet tweet us at Sports Life Talk the name of your Colorado MVP for the state tournament playoffs. And make sure you put in the hashtag yeet tweet so we can see it and we can respond and join in to the debate. All right, KT, final words, sir. You want to say anything, last words to the people?
Anybody that's rocked with the Uprise program, please hit up Brian. We want to get you on this show. We want to tell your story, so please reach out to Brian. That's all I got, B. Jones.
I can tell you about 8 names of players right now that have been mentioned over the show for girls and boys over the last 3-4 weeks that we got to get on the show. So y'all, we coming. We finna start sliding in some DMs. That's what we doing. We about to start sliding in some DMs. But in the meantime, y'all heard Matt Langley said, come on, KT, let's take it home, family, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeet.